The views and opinions of the Nissan Nation podcast are simply that. They are views and opinions of its guests or hosts. They do not reflect Nissan corporate or otherwise. Now, a DRB and KGB media presentation, the Nissan Nation podcast. Hit it, Kelly.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's a Nissan Nation podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in your hosts, David, Danny, and Holden.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in the world, we'll just say globally, this is your Nissan Nation podcast. And what is up, guys? We've had a big few days, man. This show's going to hit you Monday morning, but come Thursday night, man, we've had a crazy amount of downloads.
Well, when you're international superstars with the quality of voice reverberations and hot tech topics, it's hard not to just instill our verbiage into your brain sauce. You know what I'm saying?
The brain sauce, huh? Holden, can you elaborate what he just said? Because I don't know what he just said.
I think what he's trying to say is that we are pretty much prestige worldwide at this point. That is right, folks. International downloads from all over. We're from Russia with love. There's airmen giving us some love from France. They've pretty much given up and they've surrendered over there in France, downloading the show. So I mean, it's really just kind of, we need to put up a map and start putting up our pins for where people are downloading from, and make sure we spread the love around the entire world.
So let's do.
We're so badass. Even the Middle East loves us, and they don't love anybody.
We might have to actually change the name of the show to the Nissan Renault Alliance podcast. That's how big we are getting.
What is going on, Nissan Renault Alliance?
Mitsubishi, you're part of us now.
Yeah, we've made you our bitch. But so let's go through it real quick. So the United States always, Canada, Mexico, let's see, Colombia, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, Malaysia, let's see, Japan, Russia, Sweden, Norway, France, Spain, the United Kingdom. Like, we're all over the place, man. I'm just looking at downloads, and
it's huge.
It's ridiculous.
It's huge.
We're gonna have to build a wall. There's so many downloads.
We're making Nissan great again, bros.
We are.
We really are.
Danny's
we're gonna do it. The three of us make Nissan great again. See, look for the swag coming soon to a hat store near you.
That is right. And Danny's over. What are you sipping on? The 805, man?
The 805, the local brew. It's not a bad brew. It does not compare to Westfalen Brewcraft, which has its sights set on a new brewing facility in the very, very near future.
I know you were showing us some pictures last night, and I was amazed how big that box looked in the building.
Yeah, it's all scale, Dave. That's what they call that. They call that scale.
Yeah, well, my wife tells me the same thing, Danny.
All right.
Oh, it's rare to get Danny to see the expression on his face of like, I have no idea where to go with that one. So we were requested by young Holden over there that we were going to do a rant show because I guess I might have given Holden some material to rant on the past few episodes, and I know Danny's got some good stuff, man. But before we get into that, Danny, what's up? I mean, you were bouncing off the ceilings like a little schoolgirl. There's some truck things happening. What's going on, man?
Dude, I am literally. I sent the boys a text today. It was a screenshot of my text to the fabricator, and I literally said to him, I said, please don't let me down. I'm like a 4-year-old right before, and then the night before Disneyland trip, because he texted me and he said, hey man, the last truck ahead of yours is going out on Saturday, and then then I'm working on your truck. So I was pretty freaking pumped about that. It's been a while coming. I've been waiting months and months to get my truck kind of back into the shop and some serious stuff going. Full cage is getting finished up. Front suspension, it's still at laser cutter. I think, actually, I think they're still drawing up the spindles at CAD so they can laser cut them all out. So those are a little bit backed up, but he's gonna get the cage done while he's waiting for laser cut stuff to come back. Then the front suspension will be going in. But in truth, it's just the truck has literally just been sitting with a cover on it. We haven't really done anything other than buy a ton of parts. I got all new bump stops from King and all the bump cans for them to go in. We got tires. I got gauges. I've just been buying stuff left and right.
Well, I see,
because I can't.
I see boxes behind you and dashes that are looking different.
Yeah. I'm working on. I pulled a steering rack apart. One of my old bad steering racks. I pulled one of those apart because I want to get into the nuts of it and get down deep and see the shaft and kind of plunge that thing in and out a little bit and see if there's some upgrades that I can do to the shaft on the steering rack.
Well,
and or the gears.
Sometimes you gotta check the shaft there and make sure everything's right.
Well, sometimes the pressures you might need to get the pressure up a little bit to really get that thing moving. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you got low pressures. You don't want.
Before this gets too deep, Holden, what's going on in your world, man? Anything good? Clearly, sales aren't where they need to be for Nissan right now. So you got lots of time on your hands.
Well, new car sales. I mean, I had a strong Memorial Day weekend, so that's always a positive. Really, I've been still helping manage the used car desk, so that's kind of what I've been doing all week. Lots of used cars going out. Sold a couple Jukes this week, so that was kind of exciting, seeing the last of those little nuggets get shipped off to new owners. So it's one of those things, hoping maybe the kicks will be the same type of deal. I don't necessarily see it, but just seeing people come in looking for those Jukes was kind of funny to me. We had a yellow one, and a girl came in today, bought the last Juke we had on the lot. So.
Oh man, I'm assuming it's a 17, right? Because there's no 18s.
Well, it was a used. It was a 16.
A 16.
So, yeah, I'm moving used cars this week, Dave. That's what I cared about.
I'm sorry, man. Always selling over there. Jeez.
Always moving the middle.
You know, you could always move that big yellow Titan that sometimes is gas, sometimes diesel. You could move that thing real quick by trading it up for a big red Frontier.
Actually, sold that this week.
Oh, poor sap.
The views and opinions of Danny's rants are brought to you by.
Did you have to notify him that it was a flex fuel?
There is so much flex in this fuel system. It'll blow your mind.
I'm hoping it's somebody you don't know that bought that non-play, and I'm sure that vehicle was a finely well-tuned vehicle when Holden sold it.
It was certified, so it's Nissan's problem now.
That's right, man. It's certified fresh, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well,
only thing that wasn't under warranty is those cap lights that were on it. Other than that.
Well, please tell me it was a Brodozer guy that bought it.
Oh yeah, he's a fence dude. Like, he just wanted a truck, and he's like, I don't like that truck. Can I buy that one? Sure
you can.
Yep.
Everything's for sale. That's the one thing about running a car lot. Everything is for sale.
Yeah, I got told that once in when I used to sell vintage guitars, man. It was like I told my owner, I was like, how can you always let these one of a kind guitars go? He's like, look, man, everything is for sale.
That, my friends, is how Holden wound up in the principal's office with 14 pounds of cottage cheese.
The hell, Danny?
Everything is for sale, bro.
That's right.
Anyhow, that's a transition for you, Dave.
That is a transition, man.
That was the worst segue I've ever heard.
Oh, gosh. Oh yeah, it's right. We actually do have some news to get to before we get to fussing with each other. But let's see. Nissan released the 2018 GTR Nismo GT3 specs today. And Holden, do you know anything about this vehicle other than the hefty price tag that's on it?
Not really. I was actually trying to find info on it today. I mean, I know some of the specs and this, that, and the other. I was actually just trying to figure out if the thing's even street legal or not. It looks like it has headlights and taillights from what I can tell in the pictures, but that was one of the things I was trying to research today was, is this thing even street legal, or are we selling a 60 million yen race car that you only can be driven on the track?
Yeah, and who's going to pay the? I forget what that converts to, but it's a pricey tag here in the U.S. Let's
$535,000.
Oh, that's it, Danny.
Supposedly, it's only rear-wheel drive too. It's a FIA GT3 rule car.
Yeah, it is
550 550 horsepower. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. So.
Let's see what you would get
it's
for.
It's a built-to-order vehicle that they're taking pre-orders on, so
they'll all be in the Saudi areas. What we're getting at is, and they'll be on the side of the road at some point when they're done.
I feel like from what I was reading, I think that's a race. It's a race spec vehicle, so you could buy one and then race it in the GT3 race. Organization, like it's a spec race vehicle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. It's built to the, what is it? The FIA specs, FIA specs. So yeah, you can buy it, race it in their series if you so chose. I mean, I don't know how many people can just. I don't even know what the qualification. I don't think you can just buy a race car and just go, "Hey, I'm here to race, guys," and show up.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, and that was my other curious thing was, I mean, is this thing even street legal, or is it just something you buy and stick in your garage and say, look what I got?
Well, here in the South, you know what's going to happen with that car. Some good old boy with a couple, big checkbook's going to buy it, and he's going to show up to a NASCAR race and go, hey, I'm here to race, guys. Let's go, man. He's going to paint a number 3 on the side of that car.
Looking at is 60 million yen. That excludes tax and delivery at Nismo factory. So does that mean you have to go all the way to Japan to pick this thing up? And then optional spare parts will be necessary depending on what category you intend to participate in.
So is it one of those?
It's a Cup Grand Touring. It's basically like race series, like the closest thing you can get between race and a street legal car, from what I understand.
So essentially, it's like going out and buying Danny's Xterra, except for this one's going to actually be completed on time.
I bet you could order it today and get it before Danny does.
That's dirty as
shit. Speaking of dirty, man, who was it that posted up on our chat room where they what was it, the it's eluding me now. Something about
they've seen Team Xterra racing vehicles go further than Putin's rockets.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
I think they actually said Putin's rockets go further than.
Yes.
Oh no, yeah. They said because his rockets went what, 28 miles?
Like 22 miles. And said I've seen Xterras go further.
Oh man, but this car it's incredible, man. They released it on their Nissan Nismo Instagram page. If you want to go look at it, the inside of it shows it's just a race car on the inside. I mean, it's a roll cage and everything there. So I mean, it's good to go. Cool graphics package on the side of it. It's out of my price range. I'm assuming it's out of you guys' price range.
No, Holden, you ordered me one up.
Oh yeah, just need you to finish filling out that credit app.
Oh yeah. I'm in like the fives, dude. It should be good, right? I'm batting 500 on my credit.
I would like to see
the race truck took the first 500, so I should be good with the second 500 for the other race car, right?
I would like to see you turn that slip in to email that over to a credit union or whoever, and it's just like, what the hell?
Here's some average ass medium income for a friggin' GT3 race car. What do you guys think?
Yeah, just it came back denied, bro. What? I was good for it.
I sent a picture to my dad and said, "We're gonna pre-order one for the showroom or what?"
Did he ever answer back though?
He said, "I'll make it your demo. All you got to do is trade in your Xterra and your firstborn."
Wow. Wow.
So when's
also,
the baby going.
I still haven't texted him back either.
Yeah.
He's still thinking about it.
Still waiting to talk to the wife about the whole firstborn thing.
he just sees on that little text message where you see the little lines going under where they're moving. It just keeps moving.
Yeah. Waiting for that one dinner conversation. So, honey, is this new GTR out?
Well, speaking of of things that are just keep aging, they also released 2019 370Z Coupe pricing today. So guess what that means? No new Z coming up anytime soon.
They're gonna sell another 14 of them this year.
They but it's still as old as that car is, it's still very affordable for something spunky, and I mean it's not in that the top tier Mustang anymore or the Camaro league, but for $29,000 you can get you a 6-speed manual transmission in a little sports car. That's a rarity nowadays.
We actually sold a Nismo 18 today. A lady traded in a 1794 Tundra.
Wow, that's
she had bought that truck for her boyfriend, and I guess they broke up, so she traded in the truck she had bought for him, got herself a Nismo Z.
I like that.
Wow, did she go manual or automatic though?
It was automatic.
What do y'all set? I mean, I'm assuming y'all keep kind of one of each because y'all have quite a few Z's in stock generally. What's more popular?
We always try to keep a white Nismo Z with tech package because for some reason, no one else in our area has figured out it will always sell. We always have people coming from other dealerships or we dealer trade it.
Mm-hmm.
We usually keep one of those. We usually keep a base model with a manual. And then from there, we try to keep at least one Roadster. We usually keep four is going to be our max. Right now, we're just trying to keep it kind of around 2 and 3 with the 19s coming out. So we're trying not to get too loaded up with anything.
Well,
now.
I've not read this yet, but I'm going to say there's nothing new coming to the Z. Looks like a couple new colors for the Heritage Edition, but was it blue, pearl, and white, pearl white, and black. They haven't even changed the interior of these cars in forever, man. I'm amazed that, you get where sports cars coming, or with GTRs due for a refresh, man. So what is this, like the timeline of these two cars is strange. Like they're both needing them.
Yeah, it's like they're not sure what to do exactly with the Z. I don't think they've figured out what they're doing. I don't know if maybe they're waiting for some more technology. I don't know if they're waiting to see how this Ultima motor might do and maybe look to put something like that in it. But from what I'm hearing, there's no real plan in the next 2 to 3 years unless they're just completely locked down with what they're doing. They don't even know exactly what their next move will be.
Well, one of those little turd internet jalopnik or whatever it's called, they were mouthing off a few weeks ago about the 400Z that was coming in. It was going to have that 3.0 engine in it, but I can't see them calling it a 400Z if you're going to put a 3-liter engine in it, because it's always known, the number is always known for the engine size.
Well, that kind of shows you what kind of journalism that was, because I think people just, you went to 300, then 350, 370, 400 would make the next. That's a cool sounding number.
Yeah.
But because, like you say, that's what it represents. I don't know. I've talked in the past. I always think it would be cool to go back to a turboed engine, come back out with a 300, kind of give it that old school nod, kind of like Ford did with Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that market's just so far past that something like that would be kind of lame and cheesy at this point. I honestly think they're waiting on a new technology or something down the road that they might be working on before they do a refresh, or I mean, before they do a redesign. And then a part of me could also see them just completely getting rid of it for a few years and kind of doing like they did before between that 300, 350 model.
Well, and let's see. They put out some numbers, man. Some sales and export results. I'm not going to get into this too deep. China's kicking everybody's ass in sales, looks like right now, which is to be expected. Let's see. U.S., we are down still almost 11%. It's due for a slowdown. We got into that last episode a little bit, but clearly from what you're kind of hinting at today, your sales are still down for new cars, man. So hopefully, I got a feeling summer's going to be a dry summer for car sales, and then it's going to bounce back in the fall.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see everyone else's numbers. I'm interested to see kind of what Ford numbers look like just with their bigger announcement. If that means people are going to be buying up some cars from them, trying to make a push. So it's definitely going to be interesting over the weekend, everything like that, with everyone reporting their numbers. Definitely going to be something that I think is going to be interesting. So just kind of keep an eye on it.
Well, and speaking of keeping an eye on, Danny, let's go right into the hot topics, man. We like I said earlier, Holden was we were talking about show ideas for this week, and we've got an interview to drop here in a little bit, but let's get into our big topic of ranting. And we'd hit up a few listeners, we hit up all of our listeners and said, hey man, if you have a rant or something, throw it out there. Let's hear about it. And cause Danny and Holden, well, we ain't heard from Danny in a while, but Holden was really itching to I think fuss at me a little bit. So who wants to lead off tonight?
I can lead off, Dave.
Well, batter up, buddy.
Let me start by saying that my initial rant, I got a couple rants tonight, so I may hop back into the rant session. But my initial rant is with you, Dave. I was re-listening to one of the podcasts that I was in the hospital with my child while he was recording this.
Wow.
Selfishly.
We're going there. We're going to beat me down like that. My sick child who was on her.
So after I got out of the hospital caring for my sick child, I was able to download and listen to one of the episodes that you two were yammering on about, flapping gums and whatnot. And I heard the words come out of Dave's mouth where you said, "Oh, first Gen X-Tail's more of a truck than the second Gen X-Tail." And then all I heard was like, blah, 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 no backup evidence, blah, 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 I know better, blah, blah, blah. I tore the entire suspension out of my first gen because the first Gen X-Tail suspension is trash in the first place, and I put the suspension out of a Jeep in it, blah, blah, blah. So,
but mine's on the road.
So it's debatable. So I wanted to weigh in a little bit about your postulations on the first. I mean, we talked too much about Xterras, but I couldn't let this one go. And unfortunately, this show gets a little bit of extra airtime with the Xterra people and the Nissan people in the truck market. But I couldn't let that go. I was listening to this morning, and my grundle got hot thinking about how much you were wrong. So to put it bluntly, you said the first Gen Xterra was more of a truck based. If it seemed like a truck, more like a truck, it was more of a truck based vehicle than the second gen.
Is this a question for me, or what are we getting at?
This is. I'm ranting, Dave. I'm on a rant right now. So I would like to fully disagree. One part of the fact is they're both basically the exact same suspension. They're spring under rear. The front has less suspension travel than the second gen.
There's nothing about the front suspension like each other.
They're both A-arm, and they both have shit travel. Just the second gen has a little bit more. The first gen had a little bit more clearance. However, they are both exactly body-on-frame vehicles. The first gen could go about 13 miles an hour at full speed with a tailwind, whereas the second gen basically was the Ferrari of SUVs when it came out in 2005, with one of the most powerful V6s ever to hit the market. Whereas the first gen was I guess you could say it was like a truck, but it was more like a truck from like 1912, where the horsepower wasn't really the point. It was more about trying to get it moving in a forward direction. And then to top it all off, like I said in the beginning of my rant, people who get serious about modifying their first gen, they put a solid front axle in it. And what is the axle of choice? It's a Jeep Wagoneer axle, a solid front Jeep axle. So you basically turn the front of the truck into a Jeep Wagoneer in order to make it more of a truck. Whereas second gen guys stay brand specific, and they usually just put a Titan front end on, which is probably less invasive of a procedure and fairly simple, and you get close to the same amount of travel. And so there's my rant, Dave. I totally disagree with you. I appreciate if you could just go ahead and lick my grundle and say you're wrong from here on out.
Well, I can't say you're wrong on that, because you're a Gen. You've owned both of them, Danny. You know better than this, man. So the Gen 1 was a fully boxed frame. The Gen 2 claims to be a fully boxed frame, but it's not. It's.
What are you talking about? It's a boxed frame. It's a ladder frame. It's boxed. What's not boxed about it?
The rear end of it's not boxed, for one thing.
Oh, for like 3 inches.
Hey, inches count in this game, buddy.
The reason the rear end isn't boxed is because the bumper's back there, and the bumper is supported through a secondary bolt-in system.
I think the Gen 1 was bolted in too, but no. And why I say the truck, it's more of a truck because it had the front. It had torsion bars. The Gen 1
torsion bars, the worst suspension ever to hit vehicles in all the world. Ever.
I can't say it's great, but that's a very truck system. They took the Frontier, Danny, and just went, hey, we have some leftover Frontier parts. Let's just call it an Xterra. And we built it, and it ran great. And for sure those things don't break down on the trail. They don't blow CVs like the Gen 2 that when you get on a rock. I watched Moab this past week. I seen like a dozen, if not probably 200 CVs just shredded over speed bumps. So
that's the difference, though, is they could actually steer the truck on account of the fact that the first gen steering is basically like a guessing game. You turn the wheel and you hope that not all of the bowl joints didn't blow out at the same time. And you know that, Dave. It is the worst steering system on the face of the earth and is looser than grandma after 40 drinks.
I cannot disagree with that. You will see them pigeon-toed every once in a while, but man, I seen a cold wind blew through Moab the other day, and like 4 of them blew CVs just with a breeze blowing by. So don't tell me like sure, our pitman arm or our idler arm may be a little weak, man, but a cool breeze blows through and CVs are blowing. No, thank you.
Well, I think that's why all those guys at Gone Moab had Jeeps and FJs and everything else instead of showing up with their Nissans. They're just tired of the
There was quite a few. I wasn't gonna go there, and you're poking the bear. You're just poking the bear.
I did see a lot of return guests sporting totally different vehicles. I noticed that.
Yeah. I just say it because I was scrolling the pictures, like, oh, these are pretty cool pictures, this, that, the other, and I was like, is that a purple Xterra? And then I was like, zoop. I was half drunk and looking at him, like, that's not an Xterra. What is that? Oh, it's a Jeep. A Jeep is purple. So. I mean,
that was in the morning too, when he was half drunk looking at those pictures.
Oh man,
that was after his cereal and beer.
What else do you eat cereal with, Danny? Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, so we won't go into that rant. not for me. Well, you gotta every once in a while post a picture and stroke yourself, and you'll be happy.
For the record, Dave, I have one more rant. I'm gonna leave it until after you guys are done.
Okay.
But I'd say it's not my own rant, but it's a rant of one of the listeners, and I'm gonna try and support his opinions, and rant for him because I feel like there's a couple people that have this rant. But I'm going to let you guys weigh in a little bit on your own personal feelings, and then maybe I can help out a little bit later.
Let's see. Before I lost it. Damn it. All right, go ahead, Holden. I know you got. Well, wait. Here we go.
Nissan Nation, we're going to be talking about rants. I got a rant for you, okay? Today my rant's about dumb, idiot drivers in Nashville, Tennessee, okay? They don't know how to yield, and they don't know how to merge onto the interstates, okay? I mean, come on, people. It's not that hard. If you have a yield sign, you need to yield, okay? Because if my bumper had a huge, hefty, fab bumper on it, your little stupid, whatever the hell you were driving, would have been all dead to shit, and your fat ass wouldn't have been able to get out of the damn car, okay? I would have destroyed your stupid car. That's all my rant's about today. That's all I want to talk about is stupid people driving in Nashville, Tennessee, okay? Y'all have a good day. Jim Bob is out.
Oh, that's my buddy Jim. That's my buddy Jim Bob from
Overland Nashville, right?
Yeah. If you haven't checked out his Instagram page, man, you need to go to Overland Nashville and look it up right now. He always does these funny Overland rants, and now he's got on Wednesdays. I think it's like some spiritual thing of the day or something he does, man, which are great. But he sent us that. And now go ahead, Holden. I'll let you compare to that one and with your rant.
Well, I will say, I mean, that's something maybe we should get Nissan on the horn about is, you know, with all the smart technology going on, maybe we can actually have cars that sense yield signs and actually apply the brakes for the driver, some of this smart technology. So Overland Nashville, keep your eyes out. Maybe we'll see some of that technology bleeding over into the future, because I would hate for you to destroy and scratch up your beautiful, hefty, fab bumper.
I think he was rubbing on Hefty a little bit, hoping for a sponsorship deal.
Maybe I'll get a sponsorship. How about Hefty sends you a nice patch? How about that? That's what you get. A nice patch.
Hey, you can scratch that paint with the back of the Velcro.
Patch sponsors.
Well, part of my rant actually goes into what we talked about a little bit earlier. Is it kind of made me a little bit angry when I was scrolling Instagram and saw that GT3 GTR, because I'm being told we don't have enough of a market for body on frame off-road capable SUVs. But where's the market for the $535,000 GTR? How much money are we investing to build something like that? I know it's a cool little niche car, but if you're telling me that we don't have a niche for an off-road capable SUV, but we have the niche market for a GT3, I don't see that. It kind of made me a little bit mad. Like, hey, let's build a $535,000 car, but let's not pay attention to a market that could possibly make us money. I don't see the marketing standpoint from the GT3. It's cool to write an article or two about. I don't think you really need to do that. I think you could have more buzz coming from an off-road capable SUV standpoint. But I guess that's why I'm not over in Japan running things.
Well,
maybe one of our 3 listeners over in Japan is someone who can make something.
Well, I think
something happened from that.
To some of your rant there, I think they would have to sell 15,000 Xteras to equal the $500,000 or whatever for one of those.
Which is 3 months of that's 2 months of new Xterra sales, Dave.
No, I think they sold 15,000 a year towards the end. So
new Xterra sales. If a new Xterra came out, I guarantee you they'd sell 15,000 in the first 2 months.
I think they'd be hoping to sell more than that, Danny. I guess you said the first 2 months.
Well, what I'm saying, your first 2 months, I guarantee there'd be freaking 15,000.
Well, you heard that,
sold.
Nissan, and I know you're listening. Danny is guaranteed. He's put the seal of approval on it.
I guarantee you I would buy one. And when you listen to this, I want you to go on the Nissan Nation podcast, and I want you to post on our page and say, I would buy a new Xterra. Every single one of you listeners, if you really want to weigh in and let us know, you post on our page, I would buy a new Xterra. If that's a Facebook message, if that's whatever, just put, I would buy a new Xterra. And I'm not joking around. I like, if you really would, go buy a brand new Xterra.
Hashtag
post
that.
it up.
And hashtag it.
Hashtag, hey, there it is. We are starting a hashtag. Listen to this episode. Spread the word. Hashtag, I would buy a new Xterra.
Hashtag, what size lift can I fit on this new Xterra?
It's going into new rants there. No, don't add that. Don't add that. We have a lot of listeners in Jordan and the Middle East. We got to go real easy.
We're gonna creep into that one, but yeah, no, that is great. That's a great idea, man. And I know they listen, and I know they pay attention, like they've talked to us about. So yeah, guys, stay positive. But hey, and globally, who cares, man? Clearly, they're making a Terra in the Philippines and China and everywhere else now, and I got a feeling you're gonna see it in Australia soon. So
did you cats watch that the Philippines like
that circus
thing where they were just driving them in circles and over some like dirt mounds and stuff? They're like the new Terra, and they're like driving them in circles. There's like a couple like Roman candles shut off. It's all pew pew.
Yeah.
They're like wow 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 wow. There's like 4 like the same colored Terras driving around, and they're like, wow, the new Terra's coming.
The choreographed of the thing and the way they all stopped at the end was nuts, man.
Yeah, that was legit, dude.
I was surprised that, if it had been in India, there'd been a dance scene at the end of that,
Yeah, it was some serious Bollywood going on.
Sorry, Holden, we're taking up your time, man. Go back to where you're at.
Yeah, that's the next thing I'm going to rant about is y'all ranting on my rants. And I also want to rant because I'm still not over it. And I know we got at least one comment kind of making a joke about it. But Dave did delete one of the greatest episodes we've ever recorded. When the Mountain Patrol was released. It was of epic proportions. I actually refuse to believe that Dave deleted it on accident. I think he did it on purpose. He was actually scared of the machine that is Nissan and was intimidated. He lives so close to Nashville, I believe some suits showed up and said, we've been listening to your show, and if you know what's best for you, you will delete that last show. Because the Dave that came out with the next Mountain Patrol episode, who was all just nice and all, like, there's a high lift jack mount. That's
he was
cradling.
Cool. He was cradling the balls.
Let's
all be honest. Dave was cradling the balls the next show after that one.
There's a rooftop tent. That's kind of cool. I like the colors. Those colors are nice. That was not the Dave that was on the show the night before.
I think you made Dave walked away. I think he had to go pee.
What is that? A nice salmon orange? A nice salmony orange? That's real nice.
Oh, man.
So, you, the listeners, I owe you an apology because Nissan intimidated Dave, I think, and he had to delete it. He was scared.
Nissan Mafia, dude. You got to watch out for those guys.
That's what happens when you live that close to Nashville.
Yeah, dude, you got to watch out. They came over with like the tightest pants you have ever seen, and they did some threats, and he enjoyed them.
Oh, wow. I don't know where to go with that one, Holden. So to not back up what Holden's saying, because there's certain things about that I can't deny. But no, it was actually deleted because I was planning on using some of that stuff for down the road. And we even had a killer interview with Danny on the road going to Expo West, and it's all gone.
You deleted that too?
It was all.
He deleted the whole damn tour we had of the dam. And all the damn jokes are because Danny was literally passing over the Hoover Dam.
Oh, that's right, you were.
That was pure gold, dude. Dave, that was pure podcast gold.
There were so many damn puns. It should have been illegal.
I'll be damned.
That's the reason why we didn't hit the 5K, bro. That's why we're never going to be profitable.
Oh, I've never laughed so hard in my life. So yeah, I don't know where I can go. I guess my rant would be against you two at the moment, man. It's like an MMA match but I've got 2 against 1 here, and they're just pounding me, man. Oh,
you're used to it.
Well, now might be a good time to go into a listener rant. I know, who was it here? Car Jeep is tired of Nissan CVTs. When will it end? So, Dave, when will it end? Will it ever end?
I can, due to confidentiality agreements that I've with the last threatening I've got with the knock on the doors, I cannot say when that will end, sir. No, sorry, Karji, if that's never going to end for Nissan, they're like that ostrich with his head in the sand on that one, man. They are not shying away from it. Nor, I think actually Mitsubishi came up with that technology, and seems how they just took them over. I want to say it's here to stay, guys. What's y'all's opinion on that?
Yeah, I think they're. I don't care. CVTs are lame. I don't even want to talk about them.
I think they're definitely here to stay. I will say some of the newer models, especially Rogue, we don't seem to see as many issues as you have with some in the past. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be a Nissan apologist and say there was no problems, there was no issues. Obviously, whenever you're coming out and extending warranties on things, you obviously realize there's an issue and there's a problem. But what I will say is with these newer models, the 18 Rogues, obviously we don't have as long of age on them, but from the previous years, you would see some come right back almost instantly. I don't feel like there's as big of an issue. So I see positivity. I'm hoping to obviously see positivity with the new Altima as well. So I think there's definitely, it's technology. It's always improving. So I don't think it's ever going to end. I just, at this point, hope it does not expand, is what I'll say.
So you're saying Titan's not coming with the new CVT is what you're getting at?
Not yet, and I'm hoping it never does. I hope we never get to that point.
What do they call that?
Could.
Would that be not? They wouldn't call that the XD model. What would they call that one? What would the badging be?
It would be called the
CV.
the Total D.
Total D.
The Total D and the B.
Well, let's see. We got Hefty Fabworks posted on this one, and our buddy Chris Hefty over there. And I don't know if this is a rant. I don't know if this is a rant or just whatever. He said Hefty takes too long. Danny, do you know anything about Hefty's time frames?
Well, I can't complain about Hefty because I got a badass bumper on the front of my truck that it didn't take so long, and then I strung him along on my rear bumper, and then ended up not buying it because I had #race truck. So I can't talk smack to Hefty because I strung him along. So a little rubber meets the road. You know what I'm saying?
That's 68 miles.
Two birds in the bush is 4 in the hand. You know what I'm saying? if the water don't pump, the pot is black. That's what I always say.
Yeah, I
in
don't,
a non-racist way.
I don't follow along with that one, but okay, Danny. Holden, you got any others over there that we can talk about?
I could lay out something here real quick. And this was from a listener. There was a big complaint about people not knowing what size tires they can fit with which lift.
Yes. Is this from Leland Merrill?
Leland Merrill from the Silver State clan over there in Nevada.
What are we, just clans now? What is this, or Game of Thrones all of a sudden?
Yeah. They have a coat of arms. I mean, it might as well be. So the Nevadians from Nevada, they have a leader who actually finally got a Frontier, who has everything to Titan swap, but for some reason cannot find an excuse to allow his wife to get his balls out of her purse so that he can actually Titan swap his truck.
I'm just gonna say he knows Gen 1's better. That's why.
Oh boy. Anyways, so Leland is complaining about basically people just hopping on Facebook and or wherever, and saying, "Oh, hey, you know, how big of a lift can I get to 33s or 35s, or what size tire can I fit with this lift, etc., etc., etc." Basically, we kind of went over this a million times in the past, and on the Facebook episode 42, Facebook versus Forum, episode 42. Go back and listen to this episode.
Pause
covered this big time.
Pause right now and go listen to it, and then come back.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding,
but in truth, the internet has a supply of knowledge that is vast, enormous, and simple to get to. If you're not sure, do a quick Google search. Maybe spend more than like 3 seconds trying to figure it out before you ask Facebook, because it's one thing to tell somebody who pulls up in your garage and is looking at your truck and you make new friends, and he was, as an aside, says, hey, what kind of tires do you think I should put in my truck? I'd be like, oh man, put 33s on there. Maybe we'll put a little spacer on the front. Bada bing, bada boom. Basically, you can put 33s on anything with enough friggin' chopping, cutting, and welding on a stock vehicle. I'll get 33s on anything. Once you get bigger than that, you're screwed, bro. You got to start lifting. You got to start doing stuff. That's the basics. For those of you listening that have no idea, you can get 33s on. The less cutting is the more lifting. More lifty, less cutty. 33s, basics. So figure it out. Don't ask lame questions.
I've got a rant for you. So just like Xterra questions, you get this all the time. Frontier is a dead horse in questions of body designs, man. It amazes me how many, there's like 15 different Gen 2 pages and Gen 1 pages, and we love them all, but it's like daily now, besides tire questions, that all you ever see is, when's the next generation, Frontier coming out? Oh, it's already out. It's the Navara. We've had it for 3 years here in Australia or wherever, and you're just like over and over and over. And thanks to our sneaky Holden over there, we got the info, guys. And no matter how many times, like, I can't go into details, and just like Nissan, they're like, hey, we could comment, but we're not going to ever. We'll watch everything people post. We're just not going to comment on it. And don't expect Nissan guys on these Facebook pages to kind of instant message you real quick and go, psst, hey Brian, I'm only telling you this, okay? It's coming out. Here's the date. Get your wallet ready, okay? They're not going to do that, but when you listen to this podcast, man, you're getting the info, and it amazes me no matter how many times. I had somebody today go, hey, I can't listen to your show. Do you have the not script, whatever, when that you type out everything said, God, I'm going mind.
Oh, the transcript?
Yeah, the transcripts. I'm like, what? He goes, I can read it faster. And
how much money do you think we have on this going into this show?
Yeah.
We got a couple court reporters over here clickety clacking away while we freaking yammer on about Schlim Schlam. How many court reporters know how to put Schlim Schlam down?
We're going to need y'all to buy a lot more patches, and we will get transcripts. How about that?
Yeah, we'll get some transcripts. You got to be buying patches daily.
But, yeah, man, so I see this, and I just post the link on there, and you get that comment, and you're just like, What is this, man? We're not going to court over it. It's Facebook, for God's sakes. And so then you tell them, and they're like, no, you're wrong. And you're like, dude, do you know who I am? I am the big deal here. Or no, I am the big.
You're the big
game.
show.
I'm the big game. Danny's the big deal, and we label.
Then we got the big charm.
Yeah, we call Holden the big charm now.
Well, Dave, too, it pops up now and then for the first gens. Hey, can I supercharge my first gen with the supercharger? No, you can't. Just don't do it. Don't bother. It's not going to happen. 300Z owners. Hey, can I put twin turbos on my stock 300Z? No, you can't. It's a totally different engine. It's blow it up. Can I put one single turbo on it? Sure. You'll probably end up blowing it up very soon afterwards. These are simple questions that get answered over and over and over and over again. How do I lift my first gen Xterra? Crank the torsion bars if you're cheap as shit, and get some shackles. There you go. There's 2.5 inches, whatever. These are the things that you can I could find those in 2 seconds on the internet with the Googleators. But Google-ate a little bit before you ask stupid questions. I usually do a lot of Googling. That way, when I do ask questions, I feel like I somewhat know what I'm talking about, and people don't look at me like I'm an idiot. Maybe you don't mind looking like an idiot, but just know that if you do ask those questions without having any understanding about what you're asking, you may get a little bit of...
the troll coaster's coming.
The troll coaster's coming, and it's coming with a vengeance, and it's green, and it's big, and it's sloppy.
Ryan Miller will find you, and he will troll you.
Yeah. I want to put out a big apology to all of our listeners for Dave. Dave trolls a little bit on the Facebooks and some areas. He's not a mean guy per se, but he has less of a
filter.
This is my political response for Dave, because he's not going to do his own. Dave has less patience than some others. So if you get trolled by Dave, you probably had it. First off, you totally had it coming. And second off, don't let your feelings get hurt. Pull your shit together, learn a little bit more, and then come back, have a laugh with us, and we'll try and steer you in the right direction.
And if your name's Jim Badass, you deserved it.
And if you get trolled by the Nissan Nation podcast Facebook page, it was most likely me acting as Nissan Nation.
You definitely deserved it.
And you definitely deserved it. Because you don't get free patches.
It kills me, man. Yeah, you do not get free patches. But it kills me, man. Like, when you can answer questions and they'll ask, so they'll go, hey, what size tires? And, you know, when I owned Xterra Nation, man, I told the moderators, do not bash people for it, because if they're coming to a forum, they have a question about it. But Facebook is open. It's open game, man. There's no hunting tag required, buddy. You bag as many of them fools as you can get. But no, I don't mean to be mean. It's just, and it's probably not even your fault. It's the fact that you've seen this question that day in the same group. You've probably seen that question 15 freaking times, and it's been answered properly at least once. And then you're like, and then they'll go, you'll say, hey, you know, why don't you try to use Google a little bit? And you do it in a nice, the first guy, you try to do it in a nice way. And the second guy, you're kind of like, okay, I'll just smack him a little bit.
Yeah,
and by that,
a little bit saltier as the day goes on.
And by the
end,
sixth guy, man, you're just like, I just get my pimp hand out, and it's just like, bam. And for the most, hey, if I bullshit my way through something, I'll end up coming clean about it. But for the if it's Xterra or Frontier related, guys, I'm probably dead on it. So take that.
All right, Dave. We're coming to a close. Is there any more rants here? Because I have the final. What I like to think of as the final rant. Is there any other more topics?
The coup de grace. You have a coup de grace there.
Well, I do want to bring up, because I'm trying to boost our listener activity. So if y'all are commenting on our stuff, we're definitely going to try to give you a shout out. So we actually just had Rob Perez. He'd like to rant how hot it is in Arizona.
What?
I don't know how hot it is, but
how hot is it?
Facebook to rant. It must be pretty dang hot.
Rob, I know those clowns over on the wrong coast.
Wait, you're one of those clowns.
On one side, on the East Coast, clowns on the East Coast. The wrong coast. I was right. I feel your pain. However, just remember that no matter how hot it is in Arizona, it's not humid. And so at least there's that. And everybody in Arizona has a pool and AC, whereas everybody in Tennessee and Georgia, all they have is unconsensual things happening. Anyways.
I just looked it up, 93 degrees. It's 11% humidity. With only 11% humidity, I really don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah. What are we at, Holden? Like 25% or more right now?
Yeah. So, I went for a run this morning, and it felt every bit of 60% humidity, and it was only 80 degrees, and I was pouring sweat. So,
yeah. Sorry,
Rob. I can't agree with your rant.
I've been trying to move to Arizona, so I you know, I don't want to go against you. I need people there.
Flagstaff was beautiful.
How was that? Let's get into that a little bit, Danny. Before you do your coup de grace.
I'll touch on it for a minute, so as not to keep this podcast going too long. It was super cool. Lots of fun. Check out if you want to get a little bit of the scoop on the trip. My YouTube. I just dropped a little YouTube video on it. It's just a short, quick thing. The Groot X is my YouTube name. I did a quick fly out to Salt Lake City, drove from Salt Lake City to Vegas, picked up a bunch of shift pods, which is a really cool tent. Picked up those, and then we drove to the Overland Expo, myself and a buddy of mine, to represent Shift Pod. It's a cool new 4-season tent. Takes like a minute to pop up. So we set those up, did that thing. I was able to see the Mountain Patrol, and I saw the Project Base Camp. Titan and Armada, which were pretty cool. And then I also checked out the new NV200, and it's totally space.
Yeah, and let's get to the NV200 because Danny wants to bash me a little bit today about racing an interview, and he didn't even hit the record button when he was doing the interview.
Yeah, I totally pulled a Boyd. And I interviewed the guys with it's an NV200, but it's set up kind of like a Westfalia. The top pops up, and there's a bed up on the top, and there's all kinds of. They have a touch screen that controls all the power for the entire back end. It's got a little fridge, and it's got a little sink, and all kinds of cool stuff. So it's basically like a Westfalia, but it's based on the NV200 Nissan van. Apparently they have a manufacturing facility and they signed deals with Nissan to offer that package. Pretty cool, pretty nice. The people that were the main designers and testing of the vehicle were there. Chatted with them, really nice people. But like I said, I press the record button, but apparently I have to press and like move my finger up, which.
Yeah, no, it's
not
easy.
It's not only a problem with podcasts; it's a problem in my bedroom apparently. So, anyhow, but yeah, it was great. The expo was great. There was basically like 3 Nissans there, maybe 4, because the road guys showed up. But that's a secret little extra thing in my video that you got to check.
They get a group rate or something when they were coming in. Just brought one.
Yeah. Well, there was the 3 Nissans that I saw in the show, but then the road guys were parked outside and did their thing.
Well, did you cool. See Miss Wendy, the lady that did the announcement of the patrol?
I don't think so, dude. I don't know, dude. So I was looking for the girl that I was hard up on connection. I wasn't sure the girl that you guys saw was the girl that I talked to. I talked to a couple of the girls. They did have free beer over at the little Nissan booth area where they had those. So I basically was running over there in the middle of the day to get free beer.
Right.
And then running back to my to the shift bond booth because we were so busy that I by the time we were done at the end of the day, I fell asleep. So.
Well. So I have no like you guys have been ranting like crazy. I really, other than that one, life is good, man. We've been treated very well by our listening audience this month. Thank you for that. And out of these major downloads, if just a quarter of them would use our Amazon.com link at NissanNationPodcast.com and do their shopping, click it, do their shopping, I'd feel much better about it, man. The internet usage would probably get paid for, and we're saving up to get Danny that Steadicam for his videos. Because if you watch the video today that he posted, it's a little shaky, Dan. It's a little shaky.
There was a couple shakies. It was a little less shaky, I think, because I was using my selfie stick. But for the record, my selfie stick broke. So whatever shakies I stopped doing, definitely coming back unless we can get that done. Let me finalize the rant, Dave, with a little. It's not so much of a rant as a plug. The Nissan Nation podcast, myself, Holden, and Dave, we spend an hour, Dave probably 2 hours, on these podcasts, going on 1, 2, 3 times a week now. So that that's 3 or 4 hours that we spend. Podcasting, sitting here, providing you content, providing you some fun, some hilarity, maybe even some boredom, depending on your perspective of this show. Not to mention, plugging some stuff, researching, contacting Nissan, contacting people that we think that you will like for the show. And so with that, we offer patches. We buy these patches. We think there's something a little cool that you can throw up on your roof or on a shoulder of a jacket or something like that. And in truth, these patches, they're not $10 patches, obviously, but we sell them for $10, and it's kind of like your way of saying, hey, I appreciate the podcast. I'm going to buy a patch from you to support you guys. And, the patch is almost like a thank you for you supporting us. So I'm asking you guys to buy a patch to support the podcast, to say, hey, thank you guys for making my super long drive a little less crappy. Hopefully we put a smile on your face. But the patches are our way of saying thank you for you guys donating. That's really what they are. They're, obviously we know that each patch doesn't cost us $10, but at the same time it costs us money, and so we'd love to be able to bring you better content. And to bring you better content, we want to be able to make a little money. And you know what? We do live in America. And so in order to be able to do that, we got to, make $1 or $2. So that's the end of my rant. But we appreciate you guys listening to us. We appreciate all the listeners. And you guys have really stepped up and started supporting us recently. And we thank you guys so much for that.
And share. That's another thing. And hit the subscribe button on anything we do. That helps us a ton, man. It gives when we have potential sponsors that want to see, hey, how's your audience? We can't show them how our audience is if you don't subscribe to that thing.
Yeah, if you just like that one interview you just did, Dave, with the big wig at Nissan, he said we want to hear from you guys. Well, right now we have Nissan's ear, and if you want to have Nissan's ear as well, share our stuff. The bigger that we get, the stronger our voices, the more we can unite behind us. Let us be your voice. Share our podcast. It goes further than you think if you just share it on your Facebook page, if you share it in one of your groups. If you like what we're doing, please plug us so that we can be the voice of reason to Nissan, so that we can get some sweet Xterras and Frontiers going up in this joint.
And with that, I do have one confession I have to make. Speaking of patches, Danny, I bought a neon green Dave patch.
Dirty.
I felt so bad. I had to order one.
Well, I'm looking at a bunch of patches here.
I just want everyone to know that I bought a neon green patch, paid for it with my own money. So
yeah, it was fun.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. And then with that too, I mean, talking about sharing the show and everything. Obviously, I've done a few shows now. I've been a guest a couple times. But another thing I want to see is, hey guys, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we have up over 1,000 followers on each. Whenever we post something, asking, hey, some topics that maybe you want to talk about. A show like this is kind of a fun show we did. We didn't really have much to talk about, but we're trying to produce content for y'all every week. That's one thing we want to do is, get this show out at least maybe once a week. That's kind of what we're aiming for, so you can always hear something fresh. So maybe we just have a show like this where it's kind of fun, but we want to get the listeners involved. So, I mean, with us having, a large Instagram and a large Facebook, whenever we post questions up or, hey, what do y'all want to talk about? Be active on that. Let us know, because that's why I tried to go through the post and shout out pretty much everyone I saw, at least discuss your rant. I mean, Rob Perez, it's hot in Arizona. So one of our listeners, it's hot in Arizona, but we want to hear from y'all. So, we'll try to do sneak peeks maybe of who we're going to be interviewing, maybe get some questions. Like Dave said, we're going to be doing a SAS podcast and things like that. But when you see us sharing and posting on our Instagram and Facebook, definitely reach out. Drop us a line. Tell us something you want to hear about. Tell us, hey, you're doing a good job, or hey, Holden, you say too many times and it annoys the crap out of me while I'm listening to the podcast. But definitely be proactive and let us know what you want to hear and topics and questions, anything. Because I don't mind sitting here with these two and talking about whatever all night, but I'm sure you might have a question right now where you're like, dang it, I wish they would talk about what I should do if I put too big of tires on. Should I trim my fenders like Duncan or not?
Yes.
I love it.
Oh man, poor guy. Well, speaking of questions and answering, I got to interview a special thing, Danny. We've been trying for a long time to get a GTR on this show, and it finally came true. A week or two ago, I got to interview a Johanna Lettery, and she has a 2010 GTR that they're already doing a lot of custom things too. I think she said about 700 horse out of this car already, and they're like 30 years old. It was her and her husband. Her husband's a serviceman. He's a Marine, Holden, so you'd be proud of that one. And
Jarhead.
Jarhead.
But let's break into that interview right now and let y'all catch up on the GTR we've been looking for. So tonight we have Johanna and Josh. I said your name right? I don't want to butcher these names.
But yeah.
No, I was talking to Josh. I didn't want to mess that one up.
Yeah.
So what makes you guys special is you are our first actual GTR interview. We've many of the Japanese. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. Many of the Japanese stuff, but not actual U.S. GTRs. So we're excited to chat with you guys. So kind of tell us what brought you into owning a GTR. What was it? Just love the car, or?
Well, so yeah, when he and I met, it was like his dream car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, never ever. Well, not ever, but not at age 34. I think I'd own one. But I mean, we had been just kind of talking about it, and I've been through a lot of cars. Started driving when I was 15. I've been through 27 cars.
Oh, you sound like me.
Yeah. So, but I get bored really easily, and I love speed. Always loved speed. My mom used to drag race. My dad used to drag race. Kind of runs in the family. And like I said, I get bored really easily. So I kept upgrading. And I met when we met. You know, I actually didn't know a whole lot about the GTR, you know, when we met. And
what was kind of the fun car for you before this car?
Oh gosh.
Prelude.
Yeah, so I started out, first car out of high school, 2002, was my Honda Prelude. So totally different atmosphere there.
Sure.
And I souped that up to make that a race car, and then I had a Stage 3 Roush Mustang that I went to. And then
Bounced around from
I bounced around like
Jeeps,
STIs,
BRZ.
Yep, had a BRZ.
Man,
I had a 370Z.
How did the Subaru crowd not suck you guys in and keep you, man?
Yeah. It turned out to be too slow.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, she went from the.
I went from the Roush down to the Subaru.
Yeah, so you went through a lot of torque and horsepower to just.
Oh, yeah.
I had a 350Z when I first met her, and I had just gotten it, and I went to the beach or whatever, so I let her drive it, and she's like, "Man, I want a sports car," and went out and got a 370Z.
Well, you got a one up
the beach.
Yeah, you got a one up you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So please tell me they were manual transmissions though.
Yes, of course,
yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's all we had up until now.
Yeah, this is the first time we've had just nothing but automatic.
It's kind of weird. We're itching for a manual car again.
Yeah, we may have to go and get another little 350 or 370 or something as a beat around.
Well, hey, the G35s are pretty easy to get a hold of right now.
Yeah, that's something we haven't had.
No, we haven't had G yet. I've had a couple friends who have them and stuff like that. Yeah. One most recently had a ton of problems with his, but he just got a bad buy from a used one.
Yeah, I had an 05 and I loved that car, man. And
they're nice.
you can supercharge those things and stuff, and it's you're talking, you can get 500-600 horsepower out of that little motor real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can twin turbocharge the Z's, and they'll hang in there with a stock GTR at least.
Yeah.
So we just kind of went through all that, and the dealership kind of about an hour from us.
We just went by there a couple times just to look at them. Yeah,
we were just looking, and definitely just looking, and it was just kind of like we saw it, fell in love with it, and I was like, screw it, we'll just be making payments for the rest of our life, and
Well, you got him. Did you buy it brand? I'm assuming brand new then, right?
No, it's a 2010. So we just bought it last year.
Yeah, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, it only has.
It had 30-something thousand miles on it when we got it.
Yeah.
It was owned by a former Dallas Cowboy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Told.
Yeah, so we're told. He didn't take very good care of it though. It was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was a rat's nest when we got it.
Really?
Yeah, it was done by it's got a Stage 3 Jotech kit on it. But the wiring was just kind of done wasn't done very well. So we took it to TSM, Top Speed Motorsports, down in Georgia, and they tuned it for us and took it from about 500 horsepower, and she's running about 770 at the wheels right now.
Nice, man. I think that's usually my co-host is with me, Holden Scott. They own a Regal Nissan there in Atlanta, and I think they use those guys who you're talking about a lot because they're known for like GTR work and exotic cars.
That's what they do over there.
Yeah, they're awesome. They did a really good job.
So you took it from the around 500 horsepower to 7, you said?
Just with that, just with
the tunes
and fixing a few, change the fuel pumps and
some of the wiring and stuff needed to be redone.
Yeah.
Well, that had to be a noticeable upgrade.
I'm sorry?
Well, that had to be a noticeable upgrade for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Night and day difference.
Yeah, when we first got it, we ran it in the Wanna Go Fast half-mile shootout here in Virginia in Hot Springs, and it was running. I think it was like around 520 horsepower, and of course, like going from an STI, we were like, holy crap, that's fast.
Yeah.
And it started having a few issues, and then
we noticed something was up when we were like running stock GTR times.
Yeah.
On the half mile, we were like, this doesn't seem right. Like stock Nismo was outdoing us, and for like the money put into the engine and all the aftermarket parts and what it's advertised to be running, it didn't make any sense to us. And
yeah, I got referred down to TSM by someone in the Battalion 35 group and on Facebook, and it turned out to be really good, and they tuned it really well and dynoed it at 770 at the wheels, and then we took it down to the half mile again in Florida in Ocala in September, and it was running 165.13 in the half mile.
Wow.
So it was a huge night and day difference. So
right, that's awesome, man. So did it take you a little bit? I'm assuming you're using launch control and all that.
No,
we have not launched it yet.
Really?
We were advised not to right now, just due to the fact that it's running max power to the stock transmission. And
the motor's maxed out. Yeah, we don't want to screw anything up because it's going to be expensive to redo.
It'll be on blocks before we get a chance to fix it. If it breaks.
So have you? If I bought me a GTR, I'm going to do all kinds of research on that car, and there's only a handful of people that actually build the motors and all that stuff. Have you kind of taken it back and kind of seen who did your car? And
Jotech did the initial like upgrades and the speed density tune for 93 octane E85 because it's the flex fuel. They did the Cobb tuning for it. And I think the stage 3 upgrade was like spark plugs, fuel pumps, injectors,
turbos,
intakes, like all like from start to finish. So Jotech down in Texas ended up doing that.
Basically, just complete bolt-ons.
Yeah,
right.
all the bolt-on stuff. I'm not sure who put like rims and tires and like the aesthetic stuff on it.
Right. Well, on the block itself, there's a signature on it on the block itself. If you look at it, because I think it's 3 guys that build the motors by hand in Japan, and that always fascinates me. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos or not, where it shows them like in those clean rooms just putting them together.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
So you said you just saw it and kind of fell in love with it. Was that test ride had to be like super fun then?
It was a good time. The only other time that either one of us had actually been in one was out at Dream Racing out in Las Vegas, where you can go to the Las Vegas Speedway and like race supercars around the track. And he had actually, we had recently, like just before we got that, I think a couple months we had been to Vegas, and of course, being his dream car, he wanted to do the GTR.
Sure.
So he did that, and my dream car is still the Audi R8, but
didn't have back seats or sizable trunk.
I have an 11-year-old, so I needed something with back seats.
The good thing about the GTR is it's almost still a functional car somewhat.
It's a good family car still.
It's right. Still like it has some practicalities to it.
Right.
In a sense, with the trunk, and I can even fit myself in the back seat. I'm like 6 foot.
Really?
So
because they look so tiny in the back of these things.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's a good time to be in there for a 5-hour car drive or anything, but like riding around town or whatever, it's not bad.
Yeah, my G35 was like that, man. The back seats were tiny, and yeah, no way I'm getting back there.
I think they're actually bigger than, or it's more roomier. Has more room than the G35, because I got in the back of my buddy's G35 and my head was against the window.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely a bigger car.
Yeah.
So
the test drive was definitely a good time though. We were having some fun with the salesmen and all that. So.
Oh yeah, they had a bunch of cars in there too. They had Jaguar F-Type. They had a
Bentley,
Aston Martin Vantage V12.
Yeah.
So this was at a dealership that knew what they had. Basically, it wasn't just.
Yeah. They definitely they had a huge selection. They actually had their own like warehouse of just like different supercars and stuff.
It was heaven walking in there.
Yeah.
Right. So when you said when y'all bought it, you're like, well, we're just gonna make payments the rest of our life. How scared? Because I can't imagine. Like I know like the 2009 and stuff, they were going at around $69,000, and then the price just shot up like crazy. Once Nissan was like, oh, people want to buy these cars, let's make money on them. But I can still only imagine trying to. I would be a nervous wreck, even though I probably could qualify for that car. I'd still be like, oh my god, they're not gonna give me this car.
Yeah, we did some finagling. I traded in.
They gave us more than what we owed on
the STI.
Nice.
The STI and her bike.
Yeah, I had a motorcycle too that I traded, and then we put like a little bit down, and we're gonna be making payments for a while. But we have a supercar in the garage, so really.
Yeah,
you can't really argue with that.
No,
some people will say we're crazy, but it's worth it to us. So.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it to us.
Well, it sounds like you're car people, so I mean that's all. Like people that aren't car people don't understand us people that are car people. Because I have I have like 6 cars in my yard currently, man. I have like 2 Xteras, a Titan, a Sentra. I'm just a car nut, so I totally understand that.
Yeah, I recently watched this video with about Paul Walker, and he was saying that I wish you could say 4 cars could be enough, but it isn't.
Right.
And then like having a different car for every day was like his thing, and that's definitely us. It just depends on what mood we're in, because I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee, like an SRT as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
And that's like my, when it's really cold and I want to be super comfortable and have my heated steering wheel. I get in that in the morning, and then he's got a Ford Raptor, for his daily. So
what year Raptor do you have?
It's a 2013.
13.
The V8's the only way to go for that one.
I was gonna since you're a Raptor owner, what was your opinion of them doing the twin turbo V6?
I don't know. Like I test drove the new one too, when we first started looking at them, and I mean it got up and go, but I mean like.
You just don't get that V8 rumble,
You don't
though.
get the V8
nice,
the same.
Yeah.
It still sounded good. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. It's an adjustment, because I mean they're doing the same thing with the Mustangs now as they're going with the V6 EcoBoosts, and I don't know. I just feel like all the whole like muscle and like American. I just feel like everything's going into like
trying to be economical.
Be economical and going towards Japanese way of doing things.
Right.
Smaller engine, more boosts, and.
Well, I know, knowing what I know from Nissan, they're even going further into that. It was on our last show, we talked about it a little bit, but yeah, I got some insider information, man. It's going to get even worse. Of course, the new Altima is going to have I think they're going to do like a twin turbo 4-cylinder as their little sport engine in that thing. But yeah, I mean, it's all about fuel economy. And speaking of fuel economy, how does a car that's got 700 horsepower do on fuel economy?
Like 9 to 8.
Yeah, we get 9.8 miles to the gallon.
With the 1700 cc fuel injectors dumping fuel in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a highway car that you're going.
We need to get like a Prius or something if we want good gas
I think
mileage.
mine gets about 12. Yours gets about 16 to 17, and the GTR gets 9.
Well, but on the highway, the SRT gets about 17, and then in town it's about 12 to 13.
Wow. So it's like having my Titan. It's not. Yeah, you just forget.
We're
it.
not. We don't buy cars for gas mileage.
Yeah,
Right.
never have.
Right. Well, I got this Titan, man, and my wife, she'd never drove a V8 before, and man, all it took, when I took it out at the dealership, I just got in it a little bit, and she was like, "Oh my god," because she's a car nut too, and she's like, "Oh my god, that we have to go home with this." And now she drives it everywhere, and if she drives it, it's getting like 12 miles a gallon. Like, and it's the miles thing in that truck is a game to me now. I'm like, can I get like 18? I mean, you're like babying the pedal.
We were so excited when we got like 10.6 in the GTR or something.
Yeah, we were driving
yes!
we were driving like a grandma around for a while, trying to get it up as high as we could.
So how is the scene there, since you're a GTR, and now I take it for granted because I'm next to Nissan HQ, so they lease them out to every employee like crazy. So I see them everywhere. Do you guys see a lot of them?
So we're in Charlottesville, Virginia, and there's one or two.
There's a few that pass through in town occasionally. Yeah. Very rarely.
Is there the GTR wave of sorts too, like motorcycle wave?
I wish there was. We have tinted windows, so you can't see anything.
Nice.
I haven't seen any kind of wave. Maybe like a head nod or something. Yeah. I don't know. That's if the windows are down.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then race it off the line or something. That's probably about the way we wave is race it.
Oh yeah.
Well, does every guy in a Mustang want to pull up to the light with you and see? Like,
I've had Corollas, like Toyota Corollas, try and race me in this town.
I think they just want to see it go.
Yeah, I've had a couple of Mustangs try and run me. Actually, like
my experience, not too many people want to challenge it. They just look at it and want to see it go off the line.
Oh yeah. So you were saying that you guys have always been manual people. Was the shift on the wheel kind of hard to get used to then?
No, not for me.
No.
We had some. I'm not gonna say we had a lot of experience because we didn't. But we've driven paddle shifters before.
Mm-hmm. Being in Vegas and like having the experience with the Lambos and the Audi.
Like McLaren, we got to drive.
Yeah, we got to drive the McLaren. They all have paddle shifters.
Yeah.
So, it's not something that we had never done before. But it's still like, I still find myself where like, if I'm talking and I'm kind of zoned out, I have to pay attention because I'll just like be revving and I'm kind of like, wait a minute, I have to actually, use my hand,
When we first got it, we called them, magic music buttons.
Yeah, magic music buttons. That's because you're revving
downshift and all that.
Downshift and all that. Yeah, it was
Sounds
something his buddy came up with. That's funny. But yeah, it hasn't been terrible, and now it's just a lot of fun. Like all together, it's just a huge blast to drive all the time. We actually took it to the car meet tonight and had a little fun in town. So.
Well, I know you said you had some surgery recently, right? Knee surgery or something?
I did. I'm not going to be able to drive for a total of 12 weeks.
Oh, man, what a bummer.
And then we'll just see. I had, like, my tibia bone cut in half and moved around. So I'm in a big old leg brace and stuff. He kind of stuffed me in the car with, like, a pillow under my leg.
We fit a wheelchair in the trunk of the car.
Really?
Yes, wheelchair fits in the GTR, if anybody wants to know.
So if you're handicapped and you're looking for the car to buy, the GTR will work for you.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so kind of do y'all have any future plans for this vehicle? I mean, is there some more upgrades?
Yes, coming up. We've got a bunch of car parts in the garage. I'm so excited. We decided to go aesthetics. So we're gonna be putting a wide body kit on it, and doing a whole other paint job on it. A friend of mine.
Well, the car's white now, right?
It is. It's white and red regular carbon fiber, and we're gonna do the Le Mans blue, by the Lamborghini Le Mans blue on it with black rims.
Oh wow!
Yep. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Well, so since you guys are car nuts and stuff, and aftermarket's like second nature to you guys, how is the aftermarket for you guys on this car?
It's so expensive. The steering wheel is like $2,000.
Oh wow!
If anyone's out there trying to get a supercar, don't get it built already.
Yeah.
Start new.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you know who done it, who's built it, and they know what they're doing and all that. Because as far as aftermarket stuff, it's been a pain.
It's been something. It was to the point where when we first got it, like the injectors and the fuel pumps and stuff, just like we bought it and then this stuff started going wrong and I was just gonna say screw it, like just get a new one,
Right.
trade it in, because it was getting so expensive and ridiculous, and like having to actually have it shipped to Georgia to be redone and done right. You know, I'm always a person where like I'd rather spend more money and get it done the right way rather than just do something cheap. So, you know, I told them, I was like, just do it, and then I guess we'll just pay that off too. I don't know. You know, do you guys take payments? Do you guys do financing or something?
So there was a lot of aftermarket on this car when y'all got it then?
Everything was done to
So,
it. Yeah, the Jotech was done. The Cobb tuning was done. The aesthetics were done, and we really just have had to replace some things that weren't done well.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, fuel pumps,
Injectors. There's.
it's got, I mean, we have an entire list of just aftermarket parts on this thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Some of it's just been honestly just a big pain in the butt.
But now that we've gone aftermarket, we can't go back to stock is our problem.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We can't. It'd be too slow if we were to put it back to stock.
Now, since this is, what model was this one? As far as GTR, because I don't know back then if they had like different levels like they do now with the Nismos and track editions and stuff.
It's definitely not a Nismo. I believe it's just like the
probably
base.
just the base.
The
or
base.
it might have been the premium.
I don't think it was a premium. It was just a base that they did.
Yeah.
Well, if
There's no like badges or anything.
is there something, knowing what you guys know now about this car, is there something for a person looking to buy one that you would kind of say, hey, look for these things or watch out for this?
Definitely watch out for like if we get a lot of people saying like never been launched, you know, in their advertisements and stuff like that. I would say definitely take it to someone that you trust, that knows what they're talking about, to get it checked out first.
Bell housing.
Yeah, there's like this awful bell housing rattle that the GTRs tend to get, like down the road a little bit. Different years have like different things. Can't really think of anything else.
Stay away from 2009.
Yeah, apparently the 2009s were really bad, but I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't think of why off the top of my head. But
I've definitely seen that in a couple of posts. I would say just have someone that you really trust, like that you know can work on it,
Right.
unless you can work on it yourself.
or just get a new one.
Yeah, if you can afford a new one, I guess go for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just having somebody that you know. If you're in a small town like we are, having someone close by is going to be a pain. That really knows their stuff. Like
Right.
I'm willing to step back and be like, okay, let's spend the money and like if we really need something, have it shipped down to
Right.
Georgia
Yeah,
if something is.
Well, it's a supercar, so yeah, like it's not just your Mustang or whatever. I mean, that everybody.
Yeah,
can
I mean,
kinda-
even an oil change, like you have to have it like up on the rack and have to unbutton the entire bottom of the car, and
is there
it's kind
skid
of a
plates
pain
and stuff
just to
under
do
it?
the oil change.
Is there
But with that
skids
being
on it?
said, though,
Say
I
again?
mean,
Is there skids on it for the oil change or anything that you have to watch out for, or what? Is it just because it sits so low?
Yeah, ours just sits really, really low. It's only about 4 inches off the ground.
it's completely buttoned up though under there. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean everything's pretty much covered, but I mean it's all for good reason now. So
Oh, sure.
I mean,
That car's
that
about
means-
aerodynamics, man. You want every hole sealed up in that car.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Well-
I'd say though, for anyone buying it, it's definitely worth it. I mean, we, I don't think we're trading this one in.
Yeah, if you want to, no, he would kill me if I traded it on anything. We'd probably be like divorced in a hot second. Yeah, if you want a fun car that's gonna hold the road and just give you the power and just the, oh my gosh, it's seriously just ecstasy every time we drive it. We giggle like little kids every time we drive it.
Oh yeah,
You know.
That's
for a
awesome,
car-
man.
I mean, even as expensive as the new ones are, they're still cheaper than a Lambo, and they'll keep up with one.
Right.
You know?
More cheaper. Yeah, like
And-
Aventadors.
or even like whatever car is, like it's quick off the line no matter what it is. You can't beat the all-wheel drive. If you want to have fun in the snow with it, go for it.
Yeah. The all-wheel drive's amazing. Yeah. Somebody asked us tonight, like, if we could spin tires in it. And I was like, well, you can kind of chirp the tires, but you're not going to sit there and just, like...
That was one thing we noticed when we got it tuned, though, actually, the power difference. With the rolling launch, you can get it to kick out right to the right side, and it'll just catch second later and it's gone.
Right.
But you can definitely get it to skid some tires if you wanted to.
Yeah, she does get a little squirrely now and again if you punch it, especially if the pavement's cold.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand that car, and they don't realize it's all-wheel drive to begin with, and that's not the American idea of muscle is just a posi track in the rear and it just burn rubber, and that car is made to just take you somewhere, not burn rubber.
Yeah, even in the half miles, like we weren't spinning tires or anything. Like we just kind of go down the airstrip, and it's still, you don't have to get what you want out of it.
Well, so have you just embarrassed anybody then, since y'all like to drag this car a little bit?
There was a Mustang, a Cobra. It was a nice Cobra. It sounded great. It was actually a beautiful car. He was tailgating the heck out of me one evening. I was coming home, and I just got annoyed and just kind of like punched it, and he kept just catching up with me. I was like, all right. So we pulled up to a light. He was on one end, I was on the other, probably about two or three cars in between us. Light changed, and I was gone, and I was at the next light, probably like at least a quarter mile away by the time he even pulled off the light.
Wow.
Like the first light. And he just kind of like creeped up next to me. So that like gave me a head nod. The guy in a G37 actually pulled up, and he's like, that was awesome. Like everybody at the lights just saw it. It was pretty fun. I had a good time.
Well, you said you're going wide body kit on this thing. Any other kind of things that you're planning? I mean, because like your horsepower for just daily use, I think that's probably spot on where you want to be. Because you can get like 1,400 horsepower out of that little motor, but
oh yeah.
Yeah. So we actually we were playing with the idea.
We wanted to
of what to do, whether we wanted to go aesthetics. Ideally, we would do the upgrade on the tranny and the motor, but because we would have to do both at the same time, because both are kind of at their max power range,
right.
It would cost us anywhere from $65,000 to $85,000.
Wow.
To do that, and we just don't have the. We just don't have that money.
We're in the middle of moving and stuff, so
yeah, we're moving to North Carolina next week and all that, so
well,
kind of saving money for that. So we decided just to go aesthetics, and then. Sometime down the road we'll probably upgrade everything, because you can get a comfortable 1,000 horsepower GTR for a daily driver, and it's good on a daily basis. It's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and solid, which is what I would love. Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, to get that, you're going to have to spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
And we just can't hang with those folks right now that do that. So.
Right. Well, hey man, you're in a supercar, so yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, we'd be happy if it was a stock supercar. We're not complaining.
No, not at all.
It'd be great.
Well, because I know they're coming up for a refresh on this car. What would you like to see now that you've drove it up for a while? What would you like to kind of think that Nissan should tweak a little bit?
Oh gosh. Honestly, like we've seen the concept of the 2020 that's supposed to be coming out, and I'm not a fan of it. Like I don't like how much they've changed the body style on it. I like how they've kind of kept it the same. But I'm a little bit more traditional too. Like I love how they've kept it the basics, and they've changed just little things, interior and this and that.
I personally love the 90s look, so like the R34.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. R34 is probably.
We're gonna
have an R34 one day.
That's a bucket list car right there.
That is a bucket list car.
Oh yeah, definitely in my household too. The problem is like I was reading an article the other day where they're predicting this was the day that 99s become legal or the 98s come legal. It's like 125 grand. Like it's ridiculous what they're going to do.
Yeah, there was one that we recently saw in California.
USA legal. It was that midnight like chameleon purple color with like and
it was like
listed at $149,000.
Yeah. Yeah, are you guys on any of the exotic Facebook pages for those cars? Like, it's like an import page, I know. And there was some guy in Miami that had like 6 of them, and they were all legal here somehow. And it was ridiculous what he wanted for these cars.
The thing is though, is like, I know some people just like do the swapping VINs thing, and it's such a terrible idea because then you just if they they get caught or whatever, it gets impounded and crushed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're just wasting. It's like a waste of a car.
Well, there's guys I know that are buying them and just storing them like in Mexico right now and stuff because you could still go to Japan or order one and you could get it cheap still. Or what, I think you can get $30,000 to $40,000. You can have one, but it's trying to get it here. So what they're doing is just storing them, in there or Germany or somewhere and just. Just waiting to import them.
Waiting, holding out. That's not a terrible idea, honestly. Yeah.
No, because you're going to make money on that car if you ever want to get rid of it. But I'm lucky. There's one guy in my town that has 2 of them, and that somehow they're legal, and you'll see him.
Sell one of them?
Do what?
Do you want to sell one of them?
He's got the silver and the blue. They're beautiful cars.
There you go. That Bayside blue.
Get the V-Spec.
Yep.
Oh.
Good things, all good things.
So yeah, when that day comes, you guys got to get back with me when you get one because I want to know the A's and B. I want to compare the two because I love like y'all's GTR, but to me that is the classic. The R34 is the classic GTR to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big Skyline because the G35 was the next Skyline, even though they changed the model so they could keep this one. What is this one's the R35 that you guys have?
Yeah.
And so that bugs the crap out of me that they, it is a Skyline and it should have been the next car, but
yeah, it is, but it isn't. Like some people they're like, well, it's not really a Skyline, it's just of.
They said, I guess the R32 is the original Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where it picked up its name, and that's when they started race like that. That was the car that. They started racing, and it started beating out all the American-made V8s and all that.
Right.
And it just took off from there. And a lot of people are partial to that car, I think.
Well, you can actually get those fairly affordable too. I don't know why.
Like anywhere from 15 to 20, maybe.
Oh, not anymore. When they first came out, they were like 20. Yeah, like 18.
Mm-hmm.
To 25. Now you can't get them like the R32 GTR. You cannot get them for any less than I've seen like 25 now. They're going up from like 25 to 41.
Well, you guys in your area, you have that importer over there, right? Well, it's North Carolina.
Yep, there's one in Richmond, I think.
Richmond, Florida, California.
We have 2 importers in Richmond. One in Richmond, one in Christiansburg.
Mm-hmm.
That both have had GTRs. And they get them in on like a fairly regular basis, but there are 32s and 33s.
I can't even imagine like trying to finance that car. I mean, you better have the money just to drop on it. But I mean, I know there's a 32 floating around here. I think it's a GTS. I think is what this one is.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, he's it's a 19-year-old kid floating around.
That's one of the guys
other
here.
issues is trying to insure that car.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently,
a lot of insurance companies won't touch them at all.
Is it just because it's the exotic, or is the right-hand drive thing?
I think it's probably a mix of both. I called around a couple places and they wouldn't touch my car.
There's a bunch of articles online you can find just about the difficulties of insurance and all that with the imports. But I mean, if you can figure it out. I mean, I'm around base now, and I've seen multiple Skylines. Let's see, just since we've been in Jacksonville, I've seen multiple R35s, multiple Skylines, and there's actually an S14 Sylvia, and there's like just a number. There RX-7 was there too. Number of imports, right-hand drives.
There was an NSX down there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, Holden, the guy that co-hosted with me, he was stationed in Japan for a while, and he was like, back in when we were there, he goes, you don't realize what you're driving around. You know, you just buy something over there, and it's a cool car there, but you don't realize like how cool it is in the States to have these cars. And
oh yeah,
he's like, these guys were like trying to figure out any way they could just get these cars back to the States.
Yeah,
I would be too. Yeah, I can't even.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if we get over there, we'll probably somehow manage to bring one back.
Yeah, just stick it on a boat or something.
Carry it over.
Well, you guys definitely are car people, so my hat's off to you for that and in the passion of what you own. So, any other cars going to join the fleet anytime soon?
We're talking about going back to. So both of us, when we traded for the Raptor and the Grand Cherokee, we traded them in on the same day.
We both lost our Jeep Wranglers.
Yeah, we both had 4-door Wranglers that were really like modded out, and we miss them. So we're probably gonna go back to just like a 2-door Wrangler.
Right.
And then I'm just waiting on that R34 to come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
nice.
like a get around like a Z or something. I really would like a 300 ZX twin turbo Fairlady. Thought I had my hands on one in Richmond and got sold out from underneath me. So
yeah, very rare to find those.
Yeah, low, especially low mileage, that haven't been run into the ground or anything. So
my buddy Holden, their dealership, they still have a 300 that's never been sold. It was
really?
It was a car that they just kept. It's a family dealership, so they'll just grab a car and just kind of play with it for a while. And it just, I think it is a manual.
Send him my way.
I don't think they want to sell this one though, because he's always like, man, I just took the Z out for a spin, and I'm like, you dick. Because you get the T-tops and stuff with those cars. I don't know. To me, like that 300 is the most classic sports car to me. I mean, I don't know why, because it looked like a Lamborghini of sorts, but it was very affordable for its time period.
Yes. Definitely. It's still, they're still really not terrible priced if you can get your hands on one.
The thing I love about the 370Zs is they're one of the few sports cars today that actually still look like sports cars.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you look at, to me, the new STIs, like the
terrible.
Subarus, they just look like family sedans with oversized wing on the back.
Yeah, when they kind of went from the round lights of the early 2000s and stuff, and they started, I get it, you want to sell cars, so, but that brand specifically is known as an enthusiast brand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love the early 2000s year with the round lights and everything.
Even the Evos look like the same thing to me. I don't know. They look exactly like the Lancers.
Well, they're talking like, since Nissan bought Mitsubishi or took control of it, they're talking about merging the next Z with something fun that Mitsubishi does. And of course, I got a feeling the next Z will be all-wheel drive too, because there's only so much you could do with that.
That'd be awesome.
And of course,
Oh no, I do love the rear wheel Z just because
it's fun for drifting.
It's a drift car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my G35, I tore tires up on that car like crazy.
Oh yeah. There's this turn that would before we started living together, on the way to her house, there's this like J turn pretty much, and I would always just crank it and shred tires and just be like, coming this way.
Coming in the house grinning. Like, yeah, I know what you did.
Tires smells like burnt rubber outside.
Yeah.
Well, I know what your clone is. Burnt rubber.
That's right.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you being on here tonight, and I definitely want to check back with you and see what the updates and maybe see some pictures when y'all do this wide body kit, because I know the color you're talking about, and that's a crazy color, man. So y'all gonna have a badass vehicle on your hands.
We're excited. We've gone through about like 15 different shades of blue, and we keep seeing different. Like, well, that blue? No, that blue. No, we come back to the same blue, no matter what. So that's what it's gonna be. That Lamborghini blue.
Oh, and before I let you go, do you guys watch JDM Legends on Velocity Channel at all?
No, but somebody told me about that recently and said it was amazing.
Oh my God. It's the only car show I've ever seen where they don't go into great detail. It's an hour-long car show, but man, it's just GTR heaven, and it's all the 70s, the 60s and 70s is what they just did a complete restore on a. They're supposedly the first one to do a restore on a 72, a GTR here in the States, man. And
I want one of those so bad.
God, the price of those is nuts.
Those are just as much as the R34s.
Right.
It'd be honestly a tough choice for me if I had to pick between like one or the other.
All right, well, you get one, I'll get the other.
But
That's how we compromise in this family.
Well, it sounds like y'all need a garage and not a house.
Yeah, we already said we're not gonna we're not ever buying a house.
70% garage, 30% house.
Yeah, I don't know. Can't we always end up with cars because you can't race a house. So
that's right. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and we'll chat to y'all soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that was the interview, guys, and that one didn't get deleted. That was, you heard it, so clearly I can't delete it after you've heard it. I can't take any crap for that one now. Maybe guys, maybe sometime we'll do a special interview, and I'll let you guys record it, and you can delete it and just go, hey, big F you there, buddy. Clearly, Danny knows how to not hit record buttons, and
yeah, Holden hasn't deleted anything because he hasn't actually recorded anything up to this point, so he doesn't
not trusted enough.
He doesn't get the keys of the castle yet, if you know what I mean.
Well,
I don't want to be left holding that bag.
We've given him access to the Facebook page. I mean, I'm a little nervous now, Just like Regal, they don't give him the keys to that Instagram page, so I don't know if I can let that one to him just yet.
I'm still banned from the Regal Instagram and Facebook pages, so I just have to start my own stuff.
I just start companies just to troll my dad's company. Oh man, so guys, this has been a good show, man. We're well over an hour on this one, man. Rants were good. I'm going to disagree about I think the Gen 1 was a better platform, Danny, but that's what we're going to disagree,
Next time we see each other, maybe we can have a headbutt off.
What mine's got 4 wheels under it right now, Danny. What's yours got?
It doesn't even have a rear end under it, actually.
I remember a time when, we need to listen back.
I drove mine home from work today, though, so I got you all beat.
I drove mine around the neighborhood the other day, and then I could have ranted about this, and then so I put new brake pistons on this thing, and guess what froze up already? One of them damn cheap brake pistons that I probably got from Duralast or whoever.
Oh, so you've been holding out on me, Dave, not buying OEM parts from Regal Nissan, official show sponsor. Good to know.
Does Regal sell Wagoneer brake calipers?
I could find them. I'll find a way.
Somehow a part converts. Yes, Danny, you looked like you were about to say something.
I don't know. I got nothing for you clowns.
This has been a good show, though. Like we said earlier, if there's a topic you want to discuss, hit us up. If there's somebody, like the interview you just heard was brought to us by one of our listeners. She said, hey, I know this person's got a GTR, and they actually do something with it. So that's how we got the GTR. So thank you, Miss Carrie Beasley, if you're listening. Appreciate that. I don't care what country you're in either. As long as we don't need a translator, I'm super happy to have you on here. And I want to give a shout out. Let's do a couple shout outs, man. My buddy David Garcia from Australia. I want to give a big shout out to him, man. He posted a picture to us. He was stuck in traffic. So I don't know what the time. It's 24-hour time difference or something. So I got a picture of him in traffic when I was going to bed. He was listening to the latest episode, and he was like, well, this makes traffic a lot better. So, David, we got to get you on the show, man, because I know you have an interesting story of somebody stole your Pathfinder, and that's how you ended up with patrol. And so I want to hear about that. You guys got any special shout-outs y'all want to throw in there?
I want to shout out to ShiftPod, shiftpod.com. They, I repped them a little bit, and I have a new tent that's pretty badass. Check out shiftpod.com. It's one of the coolest tents I've ever. It's you don't really have to sell it. It's a really cool tent.
Yeah, I was watching your video today about that, man, and those are they expensive?
Yeah, a little bit. For what it is, I would say it's the equivalent of a rooftop tent.
Mm-hmm.
So and they're a little bit less expensive than a rooftop tent. The one that I have is about 12-foot floor diameter, so they're huge.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
could you imagine? I'm sorry. Oh wait. Could you imagine showing up?
Talk over each other.
Could you imagine showing up at Went and some of the people in East Tennessee seeing one of them shift pods up here, waking up in the morning?
Yeah, they look like everybody called them moon pods.
Yes,
they're literally shiny things that people see. So I was crazy busy at the expo, but Christian from Shift Pod, he's a friend of mine now. He was a friend of a friend, but after I've met with him a couple times. Really cool guy. He's the inventor and designer and owner of ShiftPod. But yeah, they're super rad, and it was cool that he was able to that I was able to work with him and go out to the expo and basically tell everybody about him. But yeah, and I got hooked up with a ShiftPod, so it was super cool that he did that. So I want to shout out to them, and then shout out Memorial Day was 3 days ago, so. Obviously, I want to do from the Nissan Nation podcast officially. Shout out to all those that have either sacrificed limbs and or lives to this country. The NMP is a huge supporter of our military and those that gave all. So, on a serious note, if you or a family member have lost someone and or if you have lost some limb or whatnot. We thank you,
and
wholeheartedly.
And I want to say to any of our active or military guys, if you ever need to talk to somebody, man, please go talk to people. I know you guys went through a lot. Danny, do you know any of those prevention areas?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I know.
There's some suicide hotlines. If you are a service member, if not, but I know the service members, it's a higher rate, and you have if you're having some suicidal thoughts, some crazy thoughts, message us on the NMP.
Yeah.
Myself and Holden are service members or have been service members, and we'd love to talk to you. Like there's nothing in life that we can't get over and can't get through. Nothing that's so extreme that you need to end it. So that's a good point, Dave. It's an epidemic in our country, and we truly believe that life is worth living, and we want to make sure that you guys know that and experience that as well. I know Holden's wholeheartedly behind me on this. We've seen some ups and we've seen some downs, and we've pushed through. And life can get better. So appreciate you bringing that up, Dave. That's a big point.
Holden, you got any shout outs, man?
My big shout out, I guess this week it goes to, I'll shout out Austin Schmidt. Just one of our listeners reached out to me, is able to help him out with some parts for his build. He also did buy the tan NNP patch, so big shout out to him for that as well. But he's just a listener, reached out on Facebook. I was able to help him get some OEM parts at a good buy. So I'd love to help anybody out with their builds. I know everyone's hesitant about this, that, the other with dealership, but I will do everything in my power to get you a fair price on OEM parts. And that's kind of who my shout out goes to for this week, mainly because of the tan patch and because I got to him with his build, which is always fun, helping a fellow listener of the show finish up their truck builds.
I want to give a big shout out to our buddy Scott Gould, man. He we've mentioned him before. He actually had his truck stolen in Cincinnati when it was being swapped to a V8. He built his badass Titan, man, to go on Moab last year since his truck was gone, and he was in one of the video Motor Trend or something. He was in some video deal where they give him a cool prize and stuff for his kick-ass Titan. And he got to go to Moab this year and take his V8 Frontier with him, man. So I want to give a big shout out to him. We had a heated debate today, and he kept it cool, and I kept it cool, and we worked through it, man. So big shout out to Scott.
Yeah, Scott's was the first V8 manual transmission, if I remember right, that he got worked out with Brendan Becker from Driven Desires. Correct me if I'm wrong. What is it?
Yep, no, you're right.
Driven Desires. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Brendan Becker, who was basically the godfather of the V8 swap for Nissans. We had him on show. I'm sure Dave knows the number offhand, but show 40.
No,
Yeah,
I do not
so-
know that one off the top of my head.
We have and for you guys that haven't listened to us a lot, we have so much cool info on these shows. There's the guy from that Brendan Becker. We interviewed him. He's got tons of cool information on that stuff. So sort through our shows, see what we have. We've really just scratched the surface of all the cool people out there, but at the same time, we've got a lot of cool information back in our shows. So we're on what show is this, Dave?
This is show 73.
73. So I would say we've talked to at least 50 people out of the 73 shows, if not more.
At least 50.
Yeah. So we've really gone across the spectrum. We're hoping to get some more, and there's still those big Godzillas and those whales that we're trying to reel in.
What?
And I promise you, we're gonna bring some big names in here.
Why do I feel like this is a PBS special all of a sudden, where you're watching your favorite like Austin City Limits or something, and right in the middle when like Stevie Ray Vaughan's about to do this killer guitar solo, they stop it and like, we cannot continue to show this till you give us money. We have operators standing by.
We're gonna bring you those giant names, but you have to buy red patches.
Green patches. And guys, speaking of that of merchandise, we once these patches are gone, each one of the amigos are getting their own hat. We're going hats next time, so they're going to pick a color, and we're going to see whose color is going to prevail. Obviously green. I'm not going green this time for me, Holden. And maybe we've got some golf shirts and stuff. We're going to do some giveaways coming up too. I'm about tapped out for the night, man. And that was episode 49, by the way, Danny.
Brendan Becker for
yes.
the V8 swapping.
Yes, and
yeah, it's a great episode. Great episode.
Yeah, and I've been just trying to spread these around. If you're a new listener and you've heard us because it's been spread around on Facebook or somewhere, man, let us know. Give us feedback on iTunes as well. That'll be my last little thing. It helps us get in the charts. And we've got to beat our buddies over there at the Toyota podcast every once in a while, the Trucks and Trails podcast. We got to do a little higher than they do every once in a while. But so, guys, anything else before we let this train go?
Let's beat meat, brother.
All right, man. So from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, I'm not a butcher over there, Danny. So I don't tenderize my meat like that. From JR that does the music, my wife Kelly who does the intros, to Holden and Danny over there on representing their sides of the world, and to all of our listeners all over the globe, wherever you're at, we appreciate it. So from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, what are we, Danny?
I don't know. What are we holding? Out.
Peace, everybody. Love y'all.
And Dave just believes it. 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 And Dave just believes it.